What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner, given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, I host the only online conversation in the world for fathers and dads that's co-sponsored by Dove Men Care and also sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization, and being part of that collaboration last year, part of a team that reached out to over 100,000 fathers around the world. As I always like to say, you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Good morning. I don't know what name. I'm hearing so many names to call this gentleman. I guess today we'll call him Jedi. Hi, Jedi. Ryan, you're on mute. There we go.
Yes. Always a pleasure to be with you, sir. I feel like we weren't able to be together on Friday, but you were missed. But thank you again for live streaming the symposium, because people are really appreciative that the George Fraser keynote and the Byron Nelson keynote were captured and available right after, because the word started to spread. It's like, listen, if you missed this, go check it out. And at least it was there to be able to be seen. So I wanted to quickly thank you for that. But for those
I just want to interrupt you. First of all, thank you for allowing the opportunity to share that with hundreds and thousands of people around the world. And the nice thing is it's a living thing. So you can go see it on the platforms that we broadcast the Morning Vibe on. And even if you missed it live, which too bad if you did. And even what was even more, what was actually, that was great. But also what was good was, I'm getting a little bit of feedback on your end. Okay, that's all right. On Monday when we did the warm-up, sort of the testing, and he dropped some bombs there on the Monday. Like, I got notes from that were just wow. And George was like I said, he calls himself the 77-year-old Black New York gangsta who lives in Cleveland. Byron Nelson, it was the first time I heard Byron speak in a long time, and he was fantastic. But thank you to you and your team to make it happen. Thanks to everyone who attended. Thanks to Sheridan and all the sponsors. Thanks for another great event.
And that's such a big thing too, because with what Dr. George Fraser and Byron really amplified his message in his keynote, if you weren't able to make it to the symposium and haven't seen it yet, take some time, go to the Dr. Vibe Facebook page or the ACBN Facebook page, check out that keynote. Actually, I'm going to pin the keynote on our page just so you don't miss it. It'll be the first post, because if you want to understand like the mindset that I'm in, I really dig deep into our elders and what has been said over the past decades. Like, he's been saying this out maybe for 50 years.
Who?
Dr. George Fraser.
Well, here's a little, I'm going to date myself a little. I was with George Fraser the first time he came to Toronto.
Right.
And ironically, the people that brought him to Toronto for the first time, Sam and Rita Burke, who used to have a bookstore called Burke's Bookstore, was on St. Clair, just east of Dufferin. Actually, Mrs. Burke actually interviewed me on Saturday. So it was a really interesting turnaround. And I mentioned to her about seeing Dr. Fraser presenting, and it was just really wild, saying, wow, Dr. Fraser, and 2 days later, the people that brought him to Toronto for the first time were interviewing me. I just went, wow.
Yes. But and that, like you said, from time he's been like really getting this message out. And again, if we aren't able to really grasp it and act on it, we're gonna always be starting from scratch. So hopefully this foundation that he's built, and he has his networking conference, the Power Networking Conference happening. I believe it's August.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be in person in Texas. Hey,
If
you're ready for a road trip, I'm down.
We got to find a way of getting down to that, because as Ryan and I have talked about this offline, when you're a Black Canadian and you go to a Black American conference, you are the flavor. Like, if you want to get attention, you go down there, Canada, and they want to find out everything. Like, you're almost like you're like the Black Prime Minister of Canada coming down to
yes, because you're represented exactly. You're like the one or two that's there.
It's so crazy, but we will certainly, if we're able to pull that off, folks, we're gonna find a way of broadcasting from
that would be amazing.
That would be a real crazy moment. But let's see if we can get that. How about just like, and could you imagine waking up, Dr. Vibe, Ryan, George Fraser on your screen,
right,
live, like maybe doing like a 15-20 minute Q&A.
Yeah.
That would be really
like you said, the Q&A with Dr. Fraser is always enlightening. At any time, we're just doing sound checks, we're just doing like initial discovery calls. He's like, listen, he's all about focus.
You know what's wild? We were doing this testing. We were doing this testing, and he was getting into his message, and was it Stephanie was saying, we've got to go now, and he just kept on going. He wanted to get his message out. Nothing was going to stop him. I was going to Stephanie, quiet, let the man roll,
let it go on.
Let the man roll. But it was great. But so any other highlights for you with the conference?
You know, I talked about it a lot during the symposium, that the people that showed up, really, I wanted to appreciate them, because they're taking time away from their business to now be in a scenario that they're not really sure, are they going to get the value from it that is equivalent or more than if they had just stayed at work and were working on their business. So that's what we try to provide with ACBN, to say, if you're going to take your time and trust us with that time to now go through what we think is going to help your business, I'm really appreciative of that. I don't take it lightly, because I've been in meetings and events where I say to myself, you know what, I should have been answering emails right now, or I should have been out cleaning cars and training.
And of course, you don't attend any of those anymore. No, I'm not saying. I'm just joking.
Hey. But you want to support. I always, I'll be there. But if I'm hearing that this is a waste of time, I'm checking out. And so many people were tuned in for the full 2 days, and the feedback that we're getting was that it was worth their time. Right. And to me, that's what we want to deliver, making sure it's worth their time. The connections that people were making. We had some of the winners from Havaya Mighty's $10,000 giveaway. So we had partnered with her. She's an artist, a local artist in Canada. She had been working with Black entrepreneurs, and ACBN saw the great work that she was doing and extended an invitation for those 20 finalists to attend. Some of them were able to make it. They made great connections. I'm still buzzing from the event. So
I didn't know if you're getting the energy to make it today. I thought you'd need some time to rest, but you're here. So you know what? We could chop it up all day. We got a friend coming on. We're going to chop it up with a number of different things this Monday morning. Just want to say, as always, what's the last one? It's Black that month they call Black History Month. I just call Black History, but it's the last day. So again, we're giving away gift cards. We're giving away calendars. We're giving away poster. So again, whatever platform you're watching this live on, please just type in hashtag the morning vibe. And I got some feedback on your end again. Okay, we're all right on that. And then just again, type hashtag the morning vibe on whatever platform you're watching this on. Press enter. We'll get you in the draw. Like I said, we're giving away 3 things, and hopefully we'll be able to continue doing it. But let's introduce our friend. We haven't seen or heard from. I haven't heard from him in a bit. You chat with him all the time. So who we bringing up today?
Well, just as I'm introducing him, I want to thank him for also attending the symposium and shedding light on the great work that he's been doing. We were able to form a partnership with this gentleman and his organization, Square Circle Ventures. They've launched Square Circle Labs, which allows us to help entrepreneurs on their startup journey with startup school and the how to get investment ready curriculum. So really, if you're looking to really amplify your business and start to get that investment mindset and actually prepare yourself to get investment dollars, the man is here to be able to talk more about Square Circle. Marlon, Steven, always appreciate
Hey,
your time.
Hey, what's going on, Marlon? You good?
Yeah, no, I can't complain. It was like everything you said. It's funny. When Ryan said, Dr. George Fraser, I was like, can he connect with like, the contemporary kind of audience? And he like almost like the first few lines of the of the speech, it was like exactly me. And it's like I tell folks all the time, there's a peer mentorship going on almost at all times, right? I've been doing this for 30 years. I've never had a check written to me per se, right? I write the checks, you know what I mean? And that's been an experience that sometimes gets me in a different mindset, right? That I can see from someone just coming into that mode. So it's been a really interesting journey because, as I said, I got nuggets. You know what I mean? You're always going to be learning, and so it was a really good time. And yeah, as far as that road trip, we're getting it done. We're definitely going to get there. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's just it's just a matter of let's do it. Yeah, that's one of the things that we call. That's all we were talking about, because it is about kind of showing up. You know what I mean? Yeah, and you're right about that, because most of my network, because most of my activity, right, happens south of the border, because I always felt that here we were asking for, like, hey, please let us do this, give us funding so that we can do this. And it's like, no, we need to do it. You know what I mean? We need to take responsibility for investing in our own community, period. Right. And that's not, yes, it starts at, buying, things and things that are created by our community, but it also means really understanding what that is, understanding what, I hate the term financial literacy, but what your options are. You know what I mean? I know folks who, work tons of overtime, and then they have this huge tax bill and didn't realize they could control that. You know what I mean? They can control that. They can pay themselves, put money away and reduce their tax bill. You know what I mean? But it's like, again, it's a whole bunch of things that us as a community have to be willing to teach each other. I actually begged out for the latter part of the first day, because Valence had a each one teach one session with like Stacey Abrams and like some real all-stars, right?
Yes.
A number of things, right? And again, she was talking about that. She has a white partner in a scenario, right? And her partner was talking about how she had to be allies, that they were, Stacey Abrams is this powerful woman, and they're doing infrastructure consulting, right? And the clients are kind of dismissing her, right? And listening to the white lady. And the white lady didn't catch it until after Stacey told her. But she told her in a way where it's like, this is what I go through all the time. And her partner was like even more incensed then. It's like, what? I didn't see that. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see that. But I see it now, right? It's like, those are the types of things that, again, peer mentorship helps you for, right? And, folks like Ryan and stuff like that, who stay steadfast. And luckily, he can vent, or we can vent in the background. He's always there though, right? Kind of, hey, I need to get this. I need to get this. I need to take the arrows. I'll vent later. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
figure it out after. So, I love that.
Marlon, I want to ask you, there's so many things you just shared that I hopefully you can get into a little bit deeper. What about the importance of being teachable?
Oh, for sure. Like that is a big part. Like I wrote 21 hard truths about entrepreneurship in my 30 years. It's one of my posts on thing, and it runs through all of that. You know what I mean? Oh, by the way, yes, as the partnership with SCV Labs, think of it this way. It's like a symposium 24/7, right? You have people that you can ask something, right? Business owners who are making $2 million a month in their business. They don't even care about new clients and stuff like that. But they are having a challenge that they would like to see, hey, how did you address this particular challenge, right? And again, you now connect with somebody who can be that type of mentor, because that's what, this idea of mentorship, right? It's an ongoing thing, right? Ryan, like, I always tell the story, Andrew, right? In one of my talks, that's how I met him, right? Andrew's 6'4", you know what I mean? Business owner for the last 16 years, very outspoken, right? But the scenario I met him in, I was talking about what I was about to do as what is now Square Circle Ventures, right? And he was so impressed. He was actually impressed with what my son said, right? Because he has kids, right? My son's now 30, right? He does video development. He's just excellent at it, right? But he doesn't see it as a skill, right? He went to York, got his thing in communications, all of those things. But his whole life, he's been editing, doing those things, camera, doing, like, for him, it's what I could do that. Now that people pay him for it, it's like, sometimes he's like, up to this day, he'll be like, how much do I charge? I don't want to lose them as a client. I want to do it, but I also don't want to, and it's like, there's this ongoing conversation. Anyways, he ran down the stairs. It was at OCAD, one of OCAD's offices. He ran down the stairs and he's like, I want you to mentor me. I'm like, he's wearing a suit. I never wear a suit. You know what I mean? He's wearing a suit. I'm like,
okay, hold on. When was the last time you wore a suit?
Ooh. Actually, the last time was to meet Justin Trudeau, right? But I never wear a tie.
Okay.
That will never happen. Okay. Right.
All right. Just go back to your story. I just wanted to check on that. All right.
Yeah. The suit was early 2020, right? Before the pandemic hit. I was a little worried because it was a few weeks after Sophie had gotten the bug at the time, and it was like, whoa, am I rolling with that? But yeah, like, Andrew coming to me then, and it's funny because I remember when we had our first meeting, right? He's on the board of 100 strong. He's all over the place. You know what I mean? Like, at the start of BOF or any of those types of things, he's there. And I'm like, hey, great, stay there. Unfortunately, he would be like, no, we were just talking earlier about sometimes having that waste of time meeting, right? He was in it. And it's like, nah, I'm out. I can't do these things. And I'm like, but I need you to stay, right? Because if we see it, he's like, no, you don't understand. It can't. We're having meetings and they're talking about bringing in McKinsey. Why aren't we looking for a Black supplier?
Right.
You know what I mean? We cannot do this. It's like we immediately get something, or one of these boards will get a donation and they don't want to spend it. They want to look at it in the bank. It's like, guess what? You don't use it, you don't get it again, right? You don't execute with it. It's not going to happen, right? Because again, most of the folks doing it aren't themselves, right, entrepreneurs. Like, it's weird, right?
That's what I'm starting to notice.
You want to fix the Black entrepreneur ecosystem, but they're not entrepreneurs.
And right? One thing that I ask the leaders of these organizations, when they create programs, I ask them, did you sign up for your own program? Because when I see like an entrepreneurship loan, let's say through Face Coalition, I sign up because I'm still a business owner that, that's a resource. Let me see what it's like. So I get to see the flow and how they're treating entrepreneurs. So when you bring that feedback to the person that's leading it, they're like, they didn't know that. And I was like, but who in your organization is actually going through what you're proposing for entrepreneurs? And that's across the board. And I will do that for any organization. And that's what they should be doing themselves, to say like, hey, is this something of value? But if you're not an entrepreneur, you're not gonna, why would you sign up, right?
Well, it's a number of things. Like, as a business owner, it's you put something out, right? And you get feedback from your customer.
Yes.
That's
and
simple.
then you
have to.
analyze and adjust.
And you
All the way
try
through.
to service that customer. That is it. That is your focus. Service that customer, right? Like everything. Like, you're a customer to me. Like, I ask you this all the time. I'm like, hey, what do you like about it? What's the problems? You know what I mean? Because I need to fix them to serve you better. That's the whole purpose of it, right? It doesn't matter what it is. It's like, you think of, you have this bar, right? You start the bar. You know where all the regulars are. You know what they drink. You know what I mean? You can start to know, well, if I buy him a drink after 5, he'll come in more and invite all of his friends. You know what I mean? You start to learn that, because that's what CRM is. All it is a scalable version of yourself. You start to see, well, what are those little things that I can do to activate my customer?
I'm curious if you can go a bit deeper into why you built Square Circle Venture Labs, and what type of entrepreneur do you think it was built for, and who should really engage with it?
That's one of the reasons why I contacted you as well, right? I wanted to be part of the whole ecosystem. You have to meet people where they are, right? And it's like, you're a young entrepreneur that's never done it before, right? You need, maybe financial literacy classes, all of those things. You would have pursued them anyways, but you know what I mean? You need them. But you don't need to now leave working on getting customers to go into a classroom for whatever the time is, right? To then come out, right? To start then? It has to be this ongoing thing, especially in this modern day, right? Where you can get, advice from somebody who can do it when they can, right? In an environment like that, I can post something, and when Ryan's available, like we did this deal before the symposium. I made sure that I got into the early bird thing, because the other thing that, as I said, I do the things that I say, like that I preach, right? I'm never going to ask Ryan for a hookup. And you know what? Ryan's never done that either. Ryan, when he joined SCV Labs, he joined as Ryan Knight, head of Detail Nights, right? And just like anything else, it's like all the things that what he filled out, I want to get some key new clients. I would like some investment. I would like to fill out my startup team. And all of our first sets of conversations were about that, right? Because that's what he's asking for. Later, he signed up as ACBN, right? ACBN has an account. And then he saw this thing called partner codes. And I go, yeah, actually, I've been thinking about that to do with all of the ecosystem members. And then he said, you know what? We talk every last Friday of the month about best practices, a whole number of things. Maybe we should do it here. And I go, that is exactly what we're supposed to be sharing information, right, about those best practices. Like you said, if he goes through and there's something wrong, we should be able to talk about it internally, right, and execute. Also, Square Circle Ventures as a whole is about us, right? This is what's going to happen in the current way, right? If we do find that unicorn, like I have this young man that's on there, race car driver, you guys got to put him on. Race car driver, his name, Ryan, show him Square Circle Ventures. I know this is important, and you will kind of go through that process to get there, but even better is scvlabs.com.
Oh, okay,
right. And you log in. And so we'll go through that, because Toka Murphy, right, is a 24-year-old young man. He actually works in the financial district. So he helps people with stocks and stuff like that, right? He's a race car driver from public housing, right? Race car driving is the most expensive sport in, and this kid is like everything. He also created a app called Rent Proof, right? And he's already been in front of, right now he's pending 2 really major clients, Tridel and Toronto Housing, right? He locks those two down. He's already a humongous player in
He's
that
good.
game,
He gets those two. He's more than on
right?
it.
You
But
understand?
touch on a little bit about what rent proof does for those that don't
Yes,
know.
rent proof essentially lets the fact that you pay your rent on time become a credit, like it increases your credit worthiness. It's reported each time so it helps you get on the way to being able to own a home in here. Because again, he understands the issue, right? And built a product to serve something that he gets.
Solution for a problem, and it's bigger than
Which
him.
Exactly, which is the very definition of an investor. When I
Yep.
found this kid, Andrews jumped on him. We did the LinkedIn thing. There's people now looking to sponsor piece. By the way, he even got one of the biggest dealers in Toronto in the GTA to sponsor his car. Right? There's a
So he's
video
like
on him.
he's like
I am
he's like the black gem in the States, Bubba Watson of stock car driving. He's going to be our version of Bubba Watson.
a little of both. Bubba Watt, it's not it. Actually, more Richard Branson. You know, how
Okay.
Richard Branson has that thing to move. Because
Yeah.
he took me to lunch the other day at King Taps too. By the way, right? I was trying to be as thing. He calls me down King Taps, shows me. He has a simulator in his office for driving. This kid's
Nice.
serious, but just as much is his business acumen.
Nice.
Do you know what I mean? It's
He's
like
got the background. Yeah.
because I asked him, well, how much money do you need? He's like, I don't know yet, and I don't want any until I do, right? And his big thing is one of my key concerns is what my team's going to look like. So that's what I'm going to need to know, because yes, I get what needs to be done, but it's like I have to pull the team together to get it done. So that's what's going to determine the amount and stuff that I need.
Got a question. We have a question here for you, Marlon, about Marlon. Square Circle Ventures, in a short snippet, is a business incubator or a business resource hub?
I call it, I gotta get my 71 word thing together, but it is an incubator, an accelerator, an investment community, right? That's what it is, right? You learn all three, right? Because again, I have friends who has literally helped me up recently, and one of them, they recently came into some money, and that's wrong. He created that 3 years ago. He'd call me, hey, how do I want to be financially free kind of scenario.
Right.
I said, well, the first thing you gotta do is get to zero, right?
Mhm.
Zero, like, because you're carrying debts that you paid, like you enjoyed those things years ago. You know what I mean? The debt's still there, right? But you enjoyed those things years ago, right? You need to get to zero, right? And then manage the debt. At the time, his mom had passed. He was worried, you know what I mean? How am I going to take care of, how am I going to go through the future? I'm alone now, right? He's older than me, right? So he's like in his early 50s. Fast forward, he did all those things that he said he was going to do. He got an Uber for some extra additional income. But, last year he got a $5,000 tax bill, you know what I mean? And so now he has he got, he sold a house in back in home, back in the Caribbean.
Mhm.
So he has $100,000 now, right? It's like, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to put everything back the way it was. And I'm like, wait. Dude, one, you have, most folks have, TFSA, RSP.
Yeah.
He was anti-RSP because he heard they will take taxes out of it. And it's like, no. That's a tool that you could utilize, right? I went through exactly what he had. Remember, he's going to have, another tax bill because of the Uber excessiveness and stuff. So I'm like, you've never contributed to your tax return? Well, you have about 121,000, and then it's tacking on 8 when you start every year, right? What you're going to do is this. You're going to take 45K, and you're going to throw it into, in my case, I love Wealth Simple. Forget fees and all that. It goes on autopilot. It's a professional money manager looking to do it. They're hungry. They got to go up against the banks. Great, right? So he threw it in there in that RSP. That's sitting there. he'll get about 5 to 7 grand back because he pays taxes in his regular job. He's eradicating the money that he made at thing, and so that's already positive money, right? So it's like cool, right? And then even though I told him to, I said don't peak because right now the volatility in the markets, it's like, you know, it's going to be crazy, right?
Sure.
It came back and he's like, the funny part was he did peak and he made like 500 the first day, right? And 500 the second day, right? And he's like, I'm like, it's not going to stay that way because you would basically, you know, by the rest of the year, you've doubled your money, right? And it's not going to be that way right now, right? But it is better than sitting in your bank account under a TFSA in a GIC in spaces. And, you know, I've just been kind of teaching him that since, you know, now it's about getting a secured credit line because all of those loan instruments are like 24%, which is crazy. You know what I mean? So by securing, you know, like, remember when you secure a home, right? Though there's a value attached, it's still a home. Before you can turn it into liquidity, you have to sell it, right? So a bank, funny enough, a GIC in a weird way is more important to the bank because that's locked in for whatever time it is and it's actual cash, right? So they know, right, you should be able to negotiate a better, you know, closer to that, to their own prime lending rate at that level, right? And then I said, at that point, any business opportunity, because, you know, people don't realize, yeah, you might get that big client, right? They give you, they announce that they're giving you the check, but that might not come for 30, 60, 90 days.
Exactly.
Right?
Oh, yes.
This, you know, that credit line, right, will enable that time frame to be able to accept that, right? So now that he's getting into business, exactly. Now that he's getting into business, he needs that at some point. So he has that 3%. He could even lend it out to someone because, you know, as I said, this payday loan thing is a rampant in our community. There's a company that I sent Ryan the case study on called Solo Funds in the U.S., a black company as well, recognizing the thing with payday loans. They created a system like almost microloans, right, where an individual can go onto the system and I need $50 to get me to this, right? Their payback might be $55, right? And usually it'd be someone like us who can do that because they're tracking who pays back their bills, who does things on time. It has kind of its own internal credit system. It's already moved millions. This is during the pandemic, millions around to people who are in need. And instead of, you know, the fee on top of fee on top of fee, it's a very straightforward, hey, yes, you know, you want to make 8% on something? Yes, here, but it's 8%, period. It's not, you know, 24% here, and then you have to do these fees, which is actually still another crazy tax, and then another fee for doing, and that's it. So it's a number of like rent proof and solo funds and things like that.
But that actually makes me think,
I'm interested in.
Like being able to identify those missing gaps in the community. And we had talked about like the ecosystem. So in your mind, how should the ecosystem be working and maybe what's missing or what could be improved?
Well, that's the point. If we're talking, right, we'll learn about these things and see how and where to back them, right? Because that's it. We don't have media. So we want to support media. I see the best way to do that is, again, maybe connected to a larger media source. I know this. Exactly, right? Right? But because think of
100%.
this.
You need a 24-hour station.
Exactly.
Vibe 24/7.
Exactly. No, but there is these, right? Okay, where's BNC's office in Canada? BNC, again, is the Black News Channel. How many?
And also let's put a cat. It is owned by a white man.
JC Watts isn't white. I
get
what you're saying.
Khan, Mr. Khan, Mr. Khan, I think is the majority owner of that.
I will go through that because that's one of those things that I definitely distinguish between black ownership and you know, a channel, because BT is that, right?
Well,
That's why I only messed with Urban One, right?
right.
I know Datavio Samuels. I know of the 3 CEOs that Revolt has had, 2 are personal friends,
There you go.
right? And again, we talked about it all the time. Yeah,
Oh, yes, yes.
I mean, you need to connect to that, because what does CNN do when when they have a news item in Canada? They didn't all of a sudden get a thing. There's an affiliate group right here to perform the news to them,
Yeah.
right? If
Yes.
if you have CNN, you're going to get right some local version of it in all cases, right? Bloomberg, right? We're doing a deal now with Cheryl Dorsey at The Plug, right? She did a distribution deal with Bloomberg already,
That's
right?
a distribute. That's a very is a we're swinging a bit into media, and I just want to take a quick break, folks. We're giving away stuff. Just want to remind, we're not talking about enough these days, but we are giving away posters. Robert Small's poster. We're giving away $25 Amazon gift card. We're also giving away a frequency event promotions poster. Type in hashtag the morning vibe on whatever platform you're watching, and you're in the draw. Yes, distribution is really key, and it's interesting. My major mentor has just signed a deal to distribute his content on all the Entrepreneur Magazine digital platforms.
Beautiful.
That's like 11 million potential eyeballs.
Wow.
Yes.
Love
Yes. And that's part of it, right? Because we don't have those kinds of things. Everybody thinks you build it, and you have to build it out. No, strategic partnerships are such an important play. You know what I mean? That was one of the first things that I wrote with Ryan. He understands that and is trying to get the other kind of leaders at different organizations to understand that. It isn't just about your program. It isn't just about you execute your program so that you could bridge to the next funding growth. Like I've been involved. I got recently involved with a group to execute on, the Black Ecosystem Fund, right? And I remember, all this ramp up, we're doing all this, and it was the worst conversations that I've ever had. I don't think they're going to fund this. I don't care what you think they're going to fund. We need to put together a plan that works, and if they fund it, fine, right? If they don't, we can at least know this is what needs to be done, and we'll find funding elsewhere if that's needed, or we'll find customers. Either or, right?
Crickets, right, but at least the thing is purposeful and works. Yeah.
They were more concerned with the funding. As soon as the fund, I remember when it went out, I said, okay, what's the next move? It's gone already. We can't do nothing about it. Whatever they choose, it's like, what? We don't do anything till we know we get funding? No, that's when I realized.
But so many of them say, yeah, we're just gonna wait until we get the response. And it's like, but that's going to be 3, 4, 5 months from now.
Minimum.
We can do so much in between that time.
Minimum.
That's when I realized I can't, you have to do it with other entrepreneurs because they understand that reality. It isn't about the funding, right? Businesses do not die because of lack of capital. They die when the entrepreneur runs out of energy, literally, right? Because like so many times I see this with most entrepreneurs. If they are only talking about funding, they're bad. They're a bad they're a bad bet. You can't, because it's like you should be focused on your customer ultimately, right? Because however you look at it, you get money. It's for growth. You have no idea to grow because you can't even get one customer. It's impossible to really, and that's a bad investor or investor who is just or new and is just doing it on this idea of diversity and inclusion. They're bad too. We were talking about a company that got funded, or I can't say funded. They got their first 500,000 from a dragon recently, right?
Yes.
And what you're wondering is, does the project make money, or did he do it because on TV it looks better that he's supporting something that's worthwhile, right? I've learned a long time. It's like, I actually want to incubate these companies. Yes, you want this. Where are you? All right, I'll meet you there. Now let's see what we can work on to, yes, get you to become investable. That idea of becoming investable has a lot more to do with, do you know how to get a customer yet? You know what I mean? Are you, are your customers, right, happy with what you're delivering, right? All the other stuff is fluff. Until you can do those simple things,
True.
who's going to give you their money, right, to do these things? Then it's a donation, it's something else, and we
Well,
can't.
that's where a lot of times people that are going for funding and are trying like to get angel investment or VC investment, they can't answer those questions. So they're not investment ready or worthy because they don't know the cost of acquisition for a customer. So the cost of their marketing, if you inject capital there, how it's going to amplify and multiply. So if you can't answer those questions, really, and that's where loans become dangerous because you're taking
Yes.
on loans to kind of patch a leaky boat. But if you know those numbers and you know, hey, if I increase my marketing here by X amount, this is the result I'm going to get, then those loans really do amplify what you're doing. But if you can't get customers, no amount of money is going to help you. It's just going to be throwing it away.
I just want to jump in here because you two are like stealthing. I just jump in my little tugboat here I agree with what everyone's saying here, because one of the things that a lot of business owners and even the big businesses, the importance of nurturing, developing, and communicating with your community, which is your customer. If you don't have a customer, you don't got nothing. Also, too, if you want to grow your customer base, or if you want to grow your base, or you want to get more audience, you have three choices. You can buy it, which I don't recommend. All right. You can develop it on your own, which takes time, but it's good. Or you can collaborate with others. Collaboration is the biggest way to fast track what you're doing, people. That's just me. That's just me. But collaboration is the best way to fast track what you're doing. I'm complete. I'll let the stealth bombers continue.
Well, no, that's precisely why. That's precisely why we've developed this relationship really quickly, right? Like the first time I heard about Detail Nights, I thought as a teaching tool, it's excellent, right? It is excellent. It is one of the best ways, right, to teach folks how. Still has to be fixed as a business, period. Ryan will tell you. You know what I mean? Like one of the things that we talk about now, okay, that individual sales thing for what you're doing isn't plausible, right? Because like a great example is one of the things in when you're building a business, you got to go through the customer journey, right? Yeah. How does a competitor literally, right now, how do you decide you're going to wash your car? Usually you're right there at the pump, right? You're pumping and it says, do you want to wash? Right then you're looking at your car. Yeah, just get the salt off and then I'm on my way. Just the basic wash today. Ryan has to get in front of them at some other point. It has to be like, oh, well, spring, I'm taking out my thing. I'm putting on my tires back. I'm taking off that snow tire. It's like, when is he going to be in that? Is it the service? So he might need to go to dealers and say, hey, this is what we're doing. And I did the math, right? Your car jockeys can't handle all of these, right? Our team can come at one time, right? We'll give you a discount because then we're doing them all in one day. He can do that because he sees it. He can now integrate into that customer journey and figure out some way to generate a new sale. Right.
I'm gonna jump in because there's some questions here, but it's almost like, if you own your business, have you done an undercover boss of your own business?
Yeah.
I just thought about that
journey.
I just thought about that. So we got some questions for you, my man. First of all, in regards to Christopher has most of the questions. You're going, do you market these businesses to the general population?
It depends on the business, right? I'm starting to realize we have to distinguish the differences with businesses within our community, right? If most services aren't scalable. I say most services aren't scalable, but not all. That's not always the case, right? And that's more self-employment than if you don't have payroll, you're self-employed. That you're not an entrepreneur yet. That's a different animal, right? you have to, and that's something that we've seen in all the data, the little data that we do have. There's lots of solopreneurs, right? Which are self-employed folks, right? You have to, like, how you get to a business is a team. One of the first things, as I said, in the onboarding for SCV Labs, we ask you a number of questions, right? Are you an accredited investor? Are you, what do you want to achieve coming on here? All of those come in. Everybody sees it. It's both automated, and right now it's small enough that I literally go through each one. And I immediately then go, okay, I know who I need to connect you with. I know I need to connect you with. I know what I need to put you on. And that is it, right? Even when it's at 300, 400, thousands, it's going to be now automated where I'm matching who are the people that you're going to need to have in your circle to get further in your business, no matter what it is. You know what I mean? Because I happen to have built a network over time, and even who's going to be coming into the environment to speak. Like, yeah, I'd like Daytwan and Dr. Vibe. Daytwan started as an intern at Vibe magazine, right? Keith Klingscale was the first CEO of Vibe magazine. He was also the first CEO
I remember that
of,
name vividly.
Of Revolt.
Yep.
Keith has always been one of my and all of his employees' biggest detractors. You look at the talent that's come out of Vibe and what they're doing now. They're the heads of BT. They're the heads of Revolt. You know what I mean? They're all over the place within the industry, right? He himself, went on to the 30 for 30 stuff that's on ESPN. That was him, very much, the executive producer in that, right? It's you. One of the things that I've noticed in my career is talent in that kind of entrepreneurial activity. It's infectious. Most of the folks that I've been with at hook.com that we worked with now have been great entrepreneurs in all kinds of things later on. Like, one of the things recently I was with, because Daytwan, again, he started at Vibe. He also started King Magazine, if you remember King Magazine, right? Yep. And he started it after our stint at Hooked, right? And I had one of the first test issues of King Magazine, right? Even now, like, you'll see some of the he always say, these are the brothers that kind of got me right in the game. He has a company, a hat company called 22, right? He'll get Carmelo Anthony, all kinds of, like, these custom hats. I remember Sadiq once said, you get people to pay $150 for a hat. He's like, that's one of the cheap ones. Yeah, it's caps. You know what I mean? It's like, because of who, what, where, the rarity of it, the sneaker game, all kinds of stuff I've learned from these guys that are sometimes 10, 20 years my junior, right? But are now their own captain of industry. He just did a bunch of those award shows, the Billboards Awards, some of the biggest award shows. He's now a consultant producer on. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I need you to talk to folks, to tell them your journey, because it's both a corporate side hustle. He has multiple businesses, right? And yes, he has his day job, right, as editor-in-chief of Vibe. But because people don't realize it, my friend even realized, I just don't have to be this founder and grinding all the time. I can collaborate with others and build my team so that they could do what they're passionate about. I'm just putting in the right space.
Yeah, you're just plugging them into the right position.
Another question, Marlon, as you see it, and as far as you can share it with it, how do we own our own urban media station?
Well, again, that is, there's something about scale and volume, right, that I've learned a long time ago, right? Urban One is one of the largest of those media entities in the US, and she has more than one. Right? There's a reason. She has to be in markets, right? We are in a market where if that is its only source of revenue, it will die.
Yeah. Well, it has died.
It has died multiple times.
Many times.
Multiple times. I never understood why the collaboration with South of the Border didn't make sense. Right? That's what I'm doing with the businesses that we like there's a need for a set of data, right, in this country with regards to our community, right? I can build it from scratch, or as I said, Cheryl Dorsey, the plug. You can literally look her up. I would eventually she will be on this show or something else. You will definitely find her on LinkedIn, so you want to go and you'll probably be able to see one of her many shows on LinkedIn. Again, distributed now by Bloomberg. She is now, right, the data. If you want to know about Black data, where to go to find those Black owned incubators or those funds, she will be your plug, of course. That's why she named it the plug. Is now called TP Insights. It's 300 US. They always give you a little discount, right? I paid it. Again, I don't do that. So I paid it. We were having a little issue and I said, hey, you don't have a lot of Canadian data here, right? What about we do a collaboration for that? I would like to know how, you built, because, she was able to do that. As I said, Harvard Business School, Bloomberg, her partners are the ace of, right? If it's now that collaboration is meant, I could learn what she did. And the months, because they started in 2016, it's now the data space. That collaboration will accelerate my growth quickly. It's all going to be in SCV Labs, or I might change the name to take advantage of what she's done. But regardless, I want to put that resource together. So it's a multi-sensory resource for our community. And Ryan saw it already and wants those others in the ecosystem fund across the country, because that's the other thing. It's not Toronto specific. There's a reason why it's a network, right? Our boy in Rodney Small in Nova Scotia is on it. You know what I mean? We're looking for folks out in BC. It is that crazy, because you think of even your growth. Okay, you're doing really well. You have a restaurant. You want it to now go across the country. How you getting the right team together? You can pick up a bunch of resumes. That is a big mistake, because it'll take you a long time. If you're an entrepreneur, one guy will say, I've been having my restaurant for however long. I like your concept. Let's collaborate, right? And I'll have my version here. That's what a franchise can be. It is the way in which we look at things, ownership, even that, you have to really understand what that means, right? Yes, you can financially own something, control, have a say, but regardless, you're going to have to build a team. And if we don't start Andrew normally says we have to have a code of conduct, right? Because yes, there's people in places, but they're scared in their space, right? They're never going to be like, yeah, let me hire my cousin. I don't care. Like nepotism, it's fine. There's other cultures that do it unabashedly, right? Dr. Fraser talked about that all the time, right? Because that's what you do, right?
You know what? I'm gonna have to cut you because we're running down on time.
Yeah,
but
no worries.
Two last things. First of all, question here. Christopher's got the questions. They say, where do you see SCV in 3 years' time?
All across North America. All across North America at that point.
Okay.
The Caribbean and every place else is going to be there. But if the message goes across, I will be speaking to the people. I'll be speaking to my tribe, and we will be invested in many of these things to create our ecosystem, because that's what it is. It's not one thing. An ecosystem is a number of things working, not always in concert, sometimes having to die to reconstitute as something else to evolve. And we need to know that in our community. We don't have one right now.
And real quick, if you wanted to touch on, I'm sure becoming an exempt market dealer is part of that. Why that would be important?
Yes, this is the key part, right? Most of the times we're not able, because of our economic status, cannot get into private deals. You can't. It's literally illegal, right?
Yes.
They can take it away from you as soon as you get it. It's technical, but we have no exempt market dealers in our country since that time. Even some of these quote unquote venture funds are not themselves. So weirdly enough, they don't act as a portal for the community to invest in these high net worth. So even if we found a Facebook right now, right, the community wouldn't benefit yet. That's part of why Square Circle exists, because we're going to carve out spaces. Some of these deals that you hear, X is in Series C, we will shoehorn our way into Series C with your little money, where from that particular point, it's 21,000 times your investment. Because I like the idea of limiting it. Like, I'm working with my friend right now, right? I'm telling him I want to make his small investment the biggest piece. The other stuff we put in those RSPs and stuff like that, right? You take the small amount that you can afford, right, to invest in these high net worth pieces. And that's one of the things that Square Circle Ventures is to do. And trust me, we have to compete with everybody else to do it.
All right. So before we close out, again, echoing from Ryan's end, there we go.
Marlon, thanks for the question, Ryan. I sometimes forget. Self promotion's not my biggest thing.
We got to hear what you're doing. But you had mentioned Sherelle Dorsey.
Yes.
During our if people want to find out more about her, there's her website address, SherelleDorsey.com. I'm going to investigate on that lady. And Marlon, if you can help me get her on this platform, I would love to do that.
It'll happen. Like I'll send you the email. We'll talk about it offline.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's very interested.
Yeah, no, I absolutely fantastic. And if you want to find out more about Square Circle Ventures, there we go. There is the website address.
And SCV Labs.
I shall do that too.
And by the way, you connect to it from there. If you click any of the Get Started buttons, it'll take you to SCV Labs.
Marlon, as usual,
touch base with Ryan, because
Ryan's the oracle.
The only set of
Jedi. Code. You know what? I'm just gonna change the name. Ryan Knight Jedi. That's it.
Listen, but we are looking for like the first 125 serious entrepreneurs. If you come through ACBN, you're able to get the partner code so you can get onto the platform. So
I'll be
touch base, send an email, and we'll connect.
Marlon,
it's been too long. Let's be in touch more often, my brother.
Yes. Anytime. You know that. Right. Ryan reminded me of that. I always say I don't like to be in the thing, but I never say no.
Hey, appreciate that.
Blessings to you and the family and all the people that you are serving and helping level up.
Yeah.
All right, my brother. Take care.
All right.
Peace. Yes, Dr. Knight. Another great conversation. Before we leave, I want to shout out something that, let's see if we'll save the giveaway to next time. But I want to shout out a big thing that ACBN launched over the weekend, mental health. Talk quickly about that, please.
Well, we had been working on our Ubuntu metaverse. So with this metaverse, we're able to work on mental health by creating a safe space for people, to decompress, disconnect from, whatever is on our heads. A lot of times it's so heavy, we just want to be able to get away. So we have a virtual space that you can use. We actually send you a VR headset. Actually, do I have one near me? Oh, I don't have one near me. But we have VR headsets to offer, and you get to connect with mental health professionals.
I'm going to be
some yoga.
I didn't get to do it over the weekend. I'm doing it today. I think that's an incredible opportunity.
Yeah. So we're really, really excited about that.
Yes, because maybe, I see Ryan listened to me once, or the Jedi listened to me, because I always say trauma, repetition, symbolism. So they're going at the trauma piece.
With that trauma.
Yes, got to deal with it. So that is it. So what's up for the rest of the week?
Yeah, Black History Month is ending today. So tomorrow I consider it Black Futures Month. Get to work on amplifying everything that we've promised that we're going to do in February. March is get to work. So looking forward
to be marching in March, right?
Yes, I love
Gonna be
that.
marching in March.
Hashtag marching in March.
Yeah, gotta like that. Well, thanks to everyone who caught us live or catch us on the replay. Thanks for your continuous support. Again, thank you, Christopher Lawrence, Ryan Singh was here today. Of course, Charmaine. Thank you so much. Oculus War. I've never heard of that. I thought Oculus Prime, but that's another thing. All right. So as always, you're gonna see us again on Friday morning. Yes. Again, if you have anyone or people you think we should have here to amplify what they're doing, please contact us. And as always, we're going to end off with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace. Actually, I said that at the end of my state of things on Saturday, last night, and someone wants me to email them that. They want, so I said, you know what? I will even, so I'm going to email that to them. And they've got a few more quick messages before we jump off. What else we got people saying here today? Sophia Jacobs, great. You put in the morning vibe right now? Too late. Next time. But you know what? And people, you know what? Even if you jump into the beginning of the conversation, put it in there, it's in the draw. You don't have, you know where we're coming from. And Sheridan Knight says, have a great day, everyone. Ryan Singh, I show up, brothers. Yes, you do show up. All right. So that is it. We close. Have an outstanding week. And remember, God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith. And remember to give yourselves grace.